Wasn't
Good
it
afternoon.
me to talk about myself and all my, how I usually talk to Joe about all the surf in his district. So anyway,
Yeah,
We have time for that under committee member announcements towards the end of the meeting.
there we go.
no problem.
All right, welcome to the November 3rd meeting of the Finance and Risk Management Committee of San Diego Community Power. Kimberly, would you please call roll?
Director Dedina,
Here,
Director LaCava,
Here,
Chair Humora.
Here.
We have a quorum.
And we're going to recognize Mayor Dedina real quickly. He was grandstanding at the beginning of the meeting, as he sometimes does. We'll let him grandstand at the end. He'd do it with a surfboard if he could, and thank him for his service on the committee. It's been a short but sweet time together here. We do a lot of good work here, and I want to thank him for his commitment and wish him good luck as he surfs off.
well, thank you, Greg. And I really enjoy serving on this committee, and I really appreciate the commitment of our board members, but also the staff. Dr. Washington and Kimberly and everybody else, Ryan, I see you there, but really extraordinary staff. And I really am pleased to see an organization that's committed to financial excellence and oversight and accountability and transparency. And you guys have just done a really remarkable job for startup. It's very, very learning lessons on organizational management and development. So yeah, kudos to you guys for doing that.
We are a fast-growing child.
Right.
All right, with that, we're going to move on to our agenda. Any public comment for items not on the agenda?
There are no public comments.
Thank you. And anything to add or withdraw from the agenda?
No, there is not.
Thank you. Moving on to item 1, Treasurer's Report for period ending 9/30/22. Dr. Washington.
Thank you, Chair Humora. Thank you, Director LaCava and Mayor Dedina. Thank you for your service on this committee. It truly has been a pleasure to represent San Diego Community Power along with our finance team and under Karen's leadership, along with the insight and guidance of this committee. So I am recommending for receive and file of the Treasurer's Report for the period ending 9/30/2022. Next slide, Kimberly. I'd like to preface my remarks by reminding us of the heat event that occurred in August. We saw some semblance of that in the August Treasurer's Report, and we see more of it flowing through September in terms of the higher than expected demand, as well as higher than expected energy costs, although some of those were offset by higher than expected revenue. And as I progress through the presentation, we'll see the implications on that as it relates to our reserves. So we ended the period with revenues outpacing what we budgeted for to the tune of 30 million, which represented 12% over budget with regard to revenue. However, the total expenses attributed to a 16% over what we expected in the budget, again, due to the heat wave event that we experienced, as well as some portion of the impact from the continuing increases in energy costs. So operating expenses came in 16% over what we had budgeted for, offsetting the 12% increase over what we expected in the budget with regard to revenue, with the net impact of a negative 7.6 million as it relates to our net position, which contributes to our reserves. And so energy costs came in at 164 million, or 90% of our net revenue, and again contributing the 13.9 million to our reserves. Next slide. So this slide will look familiar as it compares our actual results as it relates to the pro forma. And as you can see here, looking at the table, that our net position was 13.9 compared to what the pro forma indicated at the 22 million. Actual to pro forma comparison of a negative impact to our net position to the tune of 8.2 million. And this is graphically depicted in the bar charts below. Next slide, Kimberly. And then I'll take a look at reserves. At the August FRMC meeting, the Treasurer's report reported an 86 million in reserves. But again, the impact, this is reflective of the impact from the heat event that we experienced in August that flowed through to September as the CAISO bill started to roll in, and we were really zeroing in on what the actual cost impacts were from the over than expected demand for our service territories. So we landed at the end of this period, 3 months into our fiscal period for 2023, with us at a reserve level of the 54 million that you see here. And again, the delta was contributed to the heat event. So the impact was specifically a lower than expected contribution to our net position, and then leaning into our line of credit so that we could navigate through that heat event. So that's where we landed with regard to our reserve position and the change from what we saw in August rolling forward to what we've seen in September. Okay, next slide, Kimberly. So again, the recommendation is that we would recommend to the FRMC to advance the Treasurer's report to the board at our upcoming board meeting as receive and file. So with that, I will turn it back over to you, Chair Kumar.
Comments?
Chair, the only thing I think is thank you, Dr. Washington, for your continued diligence and these monthly reports. Very, very helpful to track this and keep the board apprised. I have no other questions or comments. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Director.
Mayor, any comments?
No, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Nope.
Thank you, Dr. Washington. Thank you very much. I appreciate the commentary on the impacts of the September heats on our bottom line. And do you have any sense, or looking into what's going on right now, are we trending back in the right direction?
October, the impact from those energy costs specifically related to the heat event sort of move beyond us. So that's definitely the expectation that we'll start to see things go in the opposite direction.
Thank you. That's really good to hear. And I really appreciate the last slide you had with the little pie chart that showed the reserve goal and where we're at. And I'm going to request, if possible, because I'm a reserve guy, I like to see the trends. If we can add maybe some other bar chart that shows where the reserves are versus where our target is in the future, because to me that's a really good bellwether, something for me to look at, because we're doing it on a monthly basis. It is seasonal what's going to happen. Weather is definitely related to what's going on, but I think that would help me out in tracking our progress and giving a nice little dashboard of where things are at.
Yeah, that's great feedback, Chair Moore. We'll certainly be sure to incorporate a graphic that'll show sort of the month-to-month deltas or month-to-month changes as it relates to reserve.
Any other comments from the committee? All right, so we'll consider the report received and filed with the comments for the board meeting. There are no other items on the agenda except for committee member announcements. Any final words for the good of the order, Mayor Dedina?
No, again, I've been really, again, I'm just gonna say, it's as a mayor of a nonprofit, small city that went from grand jury investigating our finances and near bankruptcy to one that's now, like this organization, very well run with a high level of transparency and accountability and, and record financial good management. I just want to thank the staff and board for real commitment to the bottom line, right? And I think that makes all the difference in terms of being able to do the work that we're doing and save the planet. So, it has the fundamentals have to be sound, and this has set a really good example for a public agency that is committed to sustainability, but also great finances and giving a great deal to its customers. So it's just it's a triple win, and I appreciated being part of it.
Councilmember LaCava.
No other comments except to thank the mayor for his service. It was great to serve for the past year on this committee. Certainly appreciated his perspective. What's great about this committee is we come from 3 different backgrounds, and it really adds, and the amazing staff, Dr. Washington and your team, and the seamless way that our CEO stepped into the role earlier this year has really been a treasure to work with. Really amazing to think about going from 0 to, what are we at? Several hundred thousand, 700 million, excuse me, in revenue and expenses. So it's been fantastic. And I don't want to forget to thank you, Chair, for your leadership. I think having a city manager really adds a good addition to this committee. So thank you for the way that you've run the committee and the way that you look at things. I think has been very especially helpful. So great work all the way around.
Thank you all very much. We will see you in December.